I have a lot of lead generation clients as my clients. They spend anywhere between 5,000 and $100,000 a month, and those lead generation clients, we have weekly sales talks. Our calls are not about Google Ads. Lead gen ads, for long story short, is much more difficult because you have to go past the point of the actual conversion before it can become successful. Initial optimizations on lead generation campaign are useless. They're absolutely useless. Scalability inside lead generation is very difficult.
Today, we are going to be talking about lead gen ads 101. We have a bunch of topics in here that Kaden helped us put together, and then John will be beautifully explaining to us. So John, would you like to start just in general with lead gen ads, or would you like to start with broad automation? Just dive into it.
Yeah, I'll start with like a little bit of an explanation. So we have two primary types of customers: e-commerce and lead generation. E-commerce is going to be obviously trying to sell products online for a conversion value. Lead generation is the sort of the exact opposite, trying to generate an interested party without having them give us their credit card. So e-com's easy. E-com, there's no such thing as spam. There's no such quality. It's do they buy or do they not buy? I mean, I'd love to get spam sales. That would be amazing. That just doesn't happen. So we usually get spam form fills though. So spam form fills are something that we've been finding different ways to alleviate that issue, and we have I'll be able to share some examples about that. But lead gen ads, for long story short, is much more difficult because you have to go past the point of the actual conversion before it can become successful, where in e-commerce you don't. Did they buy? Did they not buy? Did you spend less money than they spent with you? So that's simple on e-commerce. Lead generation is, did we generate a lead? Did we generate the right type of lead? Is that lead going to close? Has it gone to close? Was it lost? Why was it lost? And where did they come from? And how do we get more or less? And how did they contact us? E-commerce, you primarily 99% of the time your sales are going to come from person entering their credit card and pressing checkout while you're sleeping. Lead generation, you have to be awake and during business hours, receptive, available, and have a good sales person or sales team doing inbound. Primarily, that's usually what's going to be the best bet. Phone calls and chats are now more important for lead generation than e-commerce, because that's where those leads are going to be generated. So for lead gen, you have to actually be a much more savvy marketer. And people think that e-commerce is harder. It's really not. Lead generation is harder when you do the right work. What I mean by that is you can't drop a lead up at the door and say, good luck. You'll win the battle, but you'll lose the war, because after about 3 months of that, they say, well, no one has bought from any of the leads that you generated. This isn't working out. I can't afford the services. Goodbye. So that's where a lot of companies fail, but a lot of companies also plant their flag. They'll die on that hill, and they end up dying, but they'll die on that hill because they say, well, I did my job. And that's not the right way to perform lead generation. Lead generation works best if you have a CRM tool, you have a quality sales team, you have a receptive type of client that is willing and able to work through the type of leads. You have to have also a sophisticated client, a client that will keep up with notes and feedback, will also know how to take a competitive call and turn that into a client for themselves. When you run competitor ads for lead generation, for example, you get the person that says, hi, I'd like to talk to ABC company. They're like, oh, no, we're XYZ. Do you want the phone number to ABC? Like, that's actually happened. They've actually gotten the contact information of the people that the person was trying to contact because we're running competitive campaigns, and they just mistook them as their competitor. So there's a lot of things that need to kind of come to a perfect storm for this to be absolutely successful and even harder scalable. Scalability inside lead generation is very difficult because those leads are going to go to human resource that is going to have a natural capacity for failure at a certain threshold. E-commerce doesn't. You get a billion sales tomorrow. Yeah, you'll run out of inventory, but that billion sales will happen. It won't happen like that in lead generation. So our jobs as more than just a Google Ads agency, I think this is what separates us. Our jobs as Solutions 8 is to go past the point of lead generation and help the client with their own sales process. I don't mean write emails for them in their follow-up emails, I don't mean build automations for them inside their CRM tool, but we want to coach them on Well, did you answer the call within a certain amount of rings? Did you get back to the person that filled out a chat or a form fill within 5 minutes? These are all different ways that a business owner is going to think, because what they more naturally may be accustomed to is organic traffic or postcard type of lead generation. I sent out 10,000 postcards and they called me. Those scenarios versus paid traffic are extremely different. And that's what I think people don't quite understand, is how different is lead generation through Google Ads versus a typical lead generation in their business. And I'm starting here because this is going to, it's going to equate to, this is the reason why we go this far. And this is the reason why we have to sometimes coach our clients into, here's the proper way to think about Google Ads lead generation rather than your own typical lead generation, which can be even as simple as door knocking. There's still companies that sell solar panels in Tempe, Arizona. They go door to door. The main difference is they're one back button away from 3 of their competitors and more, but 3 just on their own screen in their back button. What I mean by that is, if I'm generating a lead through Google Ads, by sheer skill set and luck, was able to generate a lead before they contacted their competitors. But if our client doesn't answer the phone, if they don't respond to that chat, if they don't call them after a form's been submitted, or at least email them back with logical next steps to their own specific funnel, that person clicks one button, the back button, they go to now the next person down the line. And if they answer.
This is not a glitch. I'm interrupting the video you're watching because I need to remind you that I'm always looking for people to join our team. So if you're passionate about Google Ads and you want to work with the best Google Ads agency on the planet, please go to so8.com/apply. Speaking of working with the best Google Ads agency on the planet, if you're having trouble with Google Ads and you want professional help, that's what we do. You can go to so8.com, that's SOL8.com, to apply for your free, no obligation action plan. And if I've given you any level of value at all, maybe think about giving me a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel. That's how we juice the YouTube algorithm, so they actually know that I know what I'm talking about. If you have questions, comments, concerns, or confessions, hit me below in the comments. And now, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Our clients' chances of winning that bid are reduced by probably 90%. So the reason why this is so important is because lead generation fails at the point where the lead is dropped off at the door, even if it's a quality lead. Quality lead isn't a quality lead that's just like, well, I filled out one form for this dentist office. This must be the only dentist in a 20-mile radius, and I'll wait 3 days for them to call me back. That doesn't happen. You go and you try to contact a dentist, you're like, well, they didn't answer. That's a horrible dentist office. And then you hit one back button, and the other person's like, hi, thank you for calling the dentist office. You're like, finally, someone answered. They're not just going to be like, no, I'm going to hang up with you and I'm going to wait. Like, I'll give myself another 2 days. I really think that this is the one. They don't have that their competitiveness of what they're trying to achieve is only satiated when someone on the other line says hi. That's really the point of delineation. That's the point where you win or you fail, is that contact rate. How often are you getting back to these people and how quickly? Then you have to look at a few things after that. You have to look at the sales cycle. How long does it take? What's the appropriate amount of time to give? How many touch points are they making? How much are they in communication? How much is that communication tracked? All of those things. Then after that sales cycle is done, let's say 90 days, for example, once you have enough data points, enough closed deals, enough lost deals, then you can go back and say, okay, now I'm making further optimizations. Initial optimizations on lead generation campaign are useless. They're absolutely useless. And when I say early optimizations for lead quality, you don't have lead quality yet. They haven't gone through the sales process. We have had times where keywords that don't make sense, or too vague or too broad, are delivering 90% of the closed deals. And we've had to revert campaigns back after making our optimizations that we thought we were smart enough to make in the beginning. And it turned out not to be the case. Now, that doesn't happen often, but happens 20 to 30% of the time. So what this means is that we're only going to be as good as our communication and our collaboration with the client. I have a lot of lead generation clients as my clients. They spend anywhere between $5,000 and $100,000 a month. And those lead generation clients, we have weekly sales talks. Our calls are not about Google Ads. And a lot of you have been with me on those calls. It's not about Google Ads. It's about the sales updates. We go through, okay, what leads have been generated last week? How's this one? What happened with this one? How's that? Where's this one? Is this closing? What about the one 2 weeks ago? That big deal, did that close? All of those pieces of feedback and information, if the client cannot give that to us, it makes our job much harder. sometimes impossible, to the point where now it's just a ticking time bomb. When are they gonna quit? Or when are they gonna fire us? Because those leads never actually turned into anything good, and we couldn't see why.
Strap in, because this is going to be a long one. I'm making this video to accompany a Power page that we wrote called The Ultimate Guide to Google Ads for Lead Generation. So the big disclaimer I'm going to make on the outset is this is for lead generation specifically.